バイバル圏こいつは一体何なんだよ。私たちはみんななぜ死んでいるのか、なぜ戦うのか。
私たちは他の誰か。
話して。話のよ。あなたからよ。This was what I was waiting for. Ever since the franchise took a nosedive, especially after the last one, when John Connor got killed for no reason, undoing T2. I remember collecting the toys. I remember collecting the action figures around Terminator 2, because that's the one you could kind of market to kids. The first one was more of a horror, but that's kind of where they're going back with this one. Terminator 0 exclusive first look takes the sci-fi saga to Tokyo. Mattson Tomlin, the showrunner and executive producer behind the new anime series. Well, I would have preferred a live action with live action actors. So you would have had, Keiko Kitagawa. Let's say Keiko Kitagawa was like the femme in distress, or right. You got some like maybe Ozawa Hitoshi. Like you had Yakuza connections to Terminator. Anyway, so you got this anime. And it tells Entertainment Weekly how he embraced the horror vibe of the first two films. So you got Mattson Tomlinson, a writer on the Batman Part 2. Mattson Tomlin. I was going to say Tomlinson like NFL. He sat down to pen Terminator 0. He hit a hurdle he wasn't expecting. It didn't have anything to do with continuity, which feels like the obvious head scratcher, given all the time tampering across 6 movies. As Tomlin tells EW, the show treats all the past films as canon. I don't know how you could do that. To me, like we ended at T2. We're not going to pretend that the third movie didn't happen. We're not going to pretend that the 6th movie didn't happen, he says. Okay. This is where I really disagree with that. No, the specific challenge related to the setting itself, the powers that be at Netflix, Skydance, and animation studio production IG wanted Terminator 0 to have some kind of Japanese component. Tomlin took it a step further and set the 8-episode anime in Japan. I was aware that there aren't any guns. Yeah, you can't bring guns in Japan. And I don't think I quite appreciated how real that was, he says of his predicament. So here is a picture, and this is a really neat picture. So it has a little bit of CGI, like 3D look, but obviously keeping a 2D feel to it, as we see in the first 2 pictures. That's pretty cool. Look at that. That is something. If you can see that. Little bit. You can see a little bit. That's this one. So let's scroll down. Perfect example. His first pass of the season 1 scripts featured a sequence where violence breaks out all over Tokyo, prompting citizens to pull out firearms. My partners at production IG came back and said, hey, so there are no guns in Japan. If we needed a gun, we don't know where we would get it. And it was such a stunning moment for me, like, oh, wow, I am an American. That instance is a good indication of how Terminator 0 breaks from what audiences have come to expect from this franchise. It's a less busting into a neighbor's car to grab that pistol that just so happens to be in the glove compartment, and more sword fights with the Terminator. Like I had some science fiction where you had taser swords. So you have a katana blade, and it has like juice to like put electricity through the blade. So not only could you stab somebody, but you could electrocute them. I come up with a lot of ideas, but anyway, let's go back to... That is a good indication of how Terminator 0 breaks from what audiences have come to expect. It's less busting into a neighbor's car to grab the pistol, and it's more sword fights. There's also a definite taxi driver, Travis Bickle kind of vibe in there, Tomlin adds. Referring to Robert De Niro's iconic Martin Scorsese's movie character, if I was going to fight a Terminator, I don't have guns, what are the weapons I could concoct? A taxi cab... You could have, you could get a hammer, a shoe. The biggest deviation will be that it will be the lack of Connors. So no Sarah, no John. Terminator 0 will ditch the core faces of the franchise to focus on a wholly original characters. So I think that it's time to go into characters and not burden myself, new ones. Not burden myself with another John and Connor, Sarah Connor saga. There's been a run of that a couple of times. You have the TV show as well. There are a lot of callbacks to other films, he adds, but fans who really know the movies are going to be doing the Leo meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't seen that movie. But it's not going to be as direct as John Connor walks in because John Connor does not walk in. And here we have, oh, look at that. Let's see if I can show you that. So there we got sort of a purple, not purple lasers, but purple hue of the Terminator there. That's something. So that's the summer preview of that. Darker than that. That is something. That's a Terminator. T-800s all over the place. So the show primarily takes place in Japan in 1997 on the cusp of Judgment Day, the pivotal moment when Skynet's military AI network becomes self-aware, leading to a decade-spanning war between an endless army of machines and human survivors. There are still the familiar Terminator beats, a soldier from the hellish future sent back in time to protect a scientist named Malcolm Lee. Kind of like, why can't it be Malcolm Hidagawa or Malcolm Furukawa? Something that's a Japanese name. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being dumb. Who is working to launch a competing AI system to Skynet. An unrelenting machine assassin in the guise of a human is hunting him, who is also putting his 3 children in harm's way. So you got Malcolm and the 3 kids. Malcolm's in the middle. I knew that I wanted to tell a time travel story. I knew I wanted to tell an almost Godfather-like multi-generational saga that would ultimately follow this family with these kids. Tomlin says, what I wanted to do, if we get to do multiple seasons, is see these kids grow up and see who they become. Tomlin was very much inspired by the first 2 Terminator movies, 84 and T2 Judgment Day, although a certain rifle-touting robot with a thick Austrian accent and a killer motorcycle jacket might not be popping up in the anime. He wanted to emulate the feeling of uncertainty to who's good and who's bad. I like that scene, by the way, where, you got John Connor caught between 2 Terminators, and part of me thought maybe Arnold would have killed him, but no, it's like, get down. And then that was a great moment. I saw that in theaters way, way back. Tomlin points to Michael Baine's Kyle Reese in the first movie. You don't know what's going on with that guy. You don't know that he's the hero. In a similar way to Terminator Zero, he adds, these are all original characters. We don't know who anybody is. All of these answers are absolutely going to be revealed, and they'll be revealed pretty quickly. So you got the explosion here. That's pretty neat. Look at that. That's the humanity faces an apocalyptic vision. There you go. We need some heavy metal music, or death metal, actually, to that. The inspiration comes through further in the tone of the series. Unlike later installments, no muscular sci-fi action, Tomlin embraces the horror elements of director James Cameron's movies. There's a completely valid version of the Terminator franchise where the Terminator is synonymous with Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger, where he's this unrelenting serial killer. He explains there's a little bit of Friday the 13th in here. There's a little bit of Michael Myers from Halloween in here. Just no guns. So that's going to be a challenge. No guns, no automatic rifles. Crossbows? Maybe electronic crossbows, whips, grenades. I don't know if grenades are allowed in Japan. How do the police function? They must have something. Taser guns. Could you imagine people playing taser roulette? That's what's going to happen in the future. Instead of Russian roulette, you got our grandkids. Okay, for those of you who are 40, your grandkids are going to play taser gun roulette. It's fun, Anyway, so the best part about this is that all episodes of Terminator Zero will drop Thursday, August 29th at 3 a.m., 12 a.m. So midnight on Netflix. How about that? So I get to watch this, I hope. And I don't have to go on other streaming services. For those of you, if you have T-Mobile, you can get Netflix. If you want to pay a little bit extra for premium, you can watch this, and I'll give you my review. We'll probably do a watch-along. I'll do it the same way I did with Masters of the Universe, and we'll go from there. I'll be back for that. Better be fucking good. And I'll see if it fits into the goth metal lore reality as well.